Sure, we can.
Just to make it,
It's to me, I'll do consent agenda,
okay.
and that's it.
Consent agenda, just be clear about
Hey,
what
David,
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make
You
a
wanna keep it
motion
on
to set
consent, or
the
do you wanna
agenda
move
and
it?
do the consent agenda.
Okay.
You know, if that's what the mayor wants.
Sure.
And then that'll be it.
Before you
wanna
consent, yeah,
mention
just ask, yeah, if you will.
And easement. So what are we doing?
This is just two documents that she wants.
Easement modification.
We have the interlocal water sales agreement and the easement. So it's just a two-part document that we have officially taken
Just
care
clear. The easement,
of. Easement modification.
easement modification.
Oh, we got 1 minute left.
No, it's coming to, it's added.
Yeah, we're gonna,
okay.
yeah, we'll keep it on consent, but we'll, just note that.
6:59.
Okay, we're good. Yes, sir. Y'all ready to roll? Let's do it. Good evening and welcome to our city council meeting this December the 8th of 2025. We're going to call the meeting to order. We're going to start out with our invocation from Pastor Tom Newman from the First Methodist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance from Boy Scout Troop 59. If you're able, please stand with me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What an honor and a privilege it is to be here. I'm new to town. I just came in September, and I love this town. This is awesome. Can we pray? Mighty God, I pray that you'd come alongside us, that you'd pour out your Holy Spirit on this beloved town, that this council chamber would be holy ground, that the decisions that are made here would be good and wholesome and holy decisions that honor you and bless our children. Not just our children, but Lord, may the decisions made in this room be a blessing to our children's children yet to be conceived. Lord, I pray that you'd help us to stand boldly on the shoulders of those who have come before us. May our sacrifices count as their sacrifices count as we continue building in this beautiful town of Mount Holly. Lord, set us apart as a beacon of possibility. Draw others to the light of possibility and prosperity that you have given to us. Overshadow each member of this council, that they would hear your voice loudest, clearest, and best of all. Lord, I pray that you'd protect our servants of this town, especially our fire, our police, and our rescue. Lord, that each one would be an agent of grace and mercy, even as they must be an agent of the law as well. And Lord, through them and their example, you would draw us closer together and closer to you. But now for this meeting, Lord, I ask that your Holy Spirit have sway as we ask this in the powerful name of Jesus. Amen.
Color guard, advance. Color guard, post the colors. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, folks in Mount Holly, thank you for showing out tonight. You know, in this time of year, we start thinking back with what's happened over the last year, what have we been through, what's coming forward. And, you know, I was thinking today, and I had a tragedy happen, or it happened in the neighborhood where my mom lives over the weekend. And it got me to thinking, you know, this is time of year for giving and caring and looking out for one another. And if you know of an older person who is staying by themselves, living alone, stop in and check on them, because you just don't know what may have happened to them. So I'd like to encourage you tonight, just think about this time of giving and give a little bit of time to check on those older people in your neighborhood, your family, your friends, and take time to check on them and stop in and say hello to them. Thank you.
If we can remain standing for just one moment, please.
He's real shy, dog.
He's gonna stay up here with us.
You can have his chair if you want.
Look, he's coming after him.
So I'd like to thank our pastor for being here tonight and providing our invocation, Troop 59 for leading the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I just want to talk about Tyler Herndon. I think Thursday is the 5th anniversary of his passing. As we approach this holiday season, we're also reminded to honor the service of our brother Tyler Herndon. This marks 5 years since the tragic loss of a promising young member of our family. Tyler was more than just an officer with our agency. He was a tremendous son, brother, friend. His legacy has inspired members of our department and this community always ensure that pursue the ultimate good. May we always remember Tyler's service over his service the way it ended. So if we could have a moment of silence for Tyler, please. Okay, thank you all. You may be seated. Okay, so we're going to move forward by setting the agenda. Any changes to the agenda? Hearing none? I'm sorry. Okay.
Just one point of clarification, Mr. Mayor. Under the consent agenda, item number 7, approval of Stanley Interlocal Water Sales Agreement. That is actually a two-part document. It is the water sales agreement and the easement modification. So just a point of clarification that that is two documents, and I do want to note the significance of this. This is the first agreement that the city of Mount Holly and the town of Stanley have had in place in over a decade. I certainly want to extend our sincerest of thanks to this council, to our city attorney. This certainly predates my time here with the city of Mount Holly, but our assistant city managers worked tirelessly on this, as well as then Mayor Huff, now council member Huff. So this is certainly a historic approval here tonight on this agreement. Stanley approved this last week, and with the approval of the consent document tonight, we will have a long-standing agreement in place with the town of Stanley. But that is the only change to tonight's agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Blanton. So I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Mr. Huff makes the motion, second by Ms. Harris. All in favor? Motion passes. We're now going to go to our consent agenda. We have 11 items on the consent agenda. Are there any changes other than just briefly mentioned? Hearing none. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Mr. Meadows and second by Ms. Shoemaker. All in favor? All right. Consent agenda is approved. Now we're going to do presentations. I would like to ask our council to meet me on the floor along with Mr. Huff. So, can y'all get around here so I can actually see you?
Yeah, man, Mayor, you just tell me where you...
Okay, that's great. So I just want to talk just briefly, and I'm going to read this resolution that we have for Brian, but Brian has put in so much time with our city, so many decades with our city, and I know that the one thing that he would probably regret is spending time away from his family, because he loves his family. But he loves his city just as much, I think, or almost as much. But he's done a tremendous job for this city, and he's put in an unbelievable amount of hours representing our city, and done so much good for our city. And we're just so appreciative of what you've done over these many, many years. And I know that you're on Main Street and you're going to keep eye on all of us and make sure that we continue to move forward. So I'm going to read this resolution at this time, a resolution in appreciation of 24 years of valuable public service rendered to the city of Mount Holly by Brian M. Huff. Whereas Brian M. Huff has left a lasting mark on the community during his 8 years on the city council and 16 years as the mayor of Mount Holly, helping to push the shared vision of the citizens forward through his dedicated leadership. And whereas Brian championed the first vision process in which citizens planned the future progress of Mount Holly, leading the implementation of the strategic vision plan and the efforts that resulted in the passage of a transformational $5 million bond referendum for the downtown streetscape project and parks, and the adoption of the ABC in Mount Holly. And whereas through his support of a temporary moratorium on downtown development and meetings with the City Council, the Planning Commission, downtown business owners, professional consultants, and city staff, Brian led the way in securing the Downtown Development Manual to preserve our historic downtown. And whereas Brian worked tirelessly with city staff to negotiate easements from Clarion, Duke Energy, and American and Eford for the development of the River Hawk Greenway, organized with the Mount Holly Community Development Foundation to help raise $1 million for the initial master plan and construction of the first phase of the Greenway, and also coordinated with Caramount Health Foundation to help raise another $500,000 towards the construction of the Dutchman's Creek Greenway. And whereas together with city staff, Brian secured funding from the Clean Water Management Trust Fund and negotiated the purchase of over 200 acres of land now held in a perpetual conservation easement, protecting our community's source of drinking water and this beautiful river land from development. And whereas Brian was instrumental in the successful negotiations with Charlotte Water for the interlocal wastewater agreement that will allow Mount Holly to grow and expand for years to come through this cost-effective, sustainable partnership to treat our wastewater in a new regional facility. And whereas during his tenure, Brian worked with city staff, the city council committees, stakeholders, and many other meaningful projects such as the development of downtown events, funding numerous art projects, creation of the Mount Holly Police Department Memorial Plaza, achieving a unified vision for the construction of Ransom Hunter Park, and the upfit of a revitalized Mount Holly History Museum. And whereas after expending almost a quarter century of unwavering efforts to revive the downtown, Brian and his adored wife, Gina, now reside in their beautiful home, exemplifying the motto of live, work, and play, after raising their daughter Maddie and son Jack with love and support. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and the city council do hereby honor Brian for his years of faithful service and his abilities to listen, bring people together, and skillfully coordinate groups of people to accomplish shared goals, both big and small, due to his steadfast belief that anything is possible when we all work together. Congratulations. I know Brian wants to say a few words, but we also have a key to the city, and I think the locks were changed, so we had to get you a new one. So there's you one more. Little thing there,
Yeah,
so.
I gave a lot of these away.
That's right, but you never received
I
one.
never got one.
So it was time.
So I finally got mine. No, I appreciate those words, David, and every now and again you have to see who are they talking about. You know, I mean, there's so much time and so many people. What I really want to make sure is said, nothing happens without you. Nothing. We are elected by you to serve our citizens. Nothing happens without our staff. Okay? The city council is a great honor, and I have been honored to serve you for a long time. And I've enjoyed almost every minute of it. But I wanted Jack and Gina to be up here. I wish Maddie could be here, because when you're elected Your family's elected too, whether they wanted to or not. And they're all part of the good and the bad. They celebrate and they cry when things maybe don't go your way, okay? But they've stood by me this entire time, and I love them, and they mean the world to me. And if it weren't for Gina, we wouldn't be living near downtown, but we are. And I'm excited about that because now I can just go and tell David how many lights are out in the city. And my water is not working and my trash needs to be picked up. But I want to thank everybody that I've worked with. There's a lot in this room I've worked with and had the privilege. There's a lot that are no longer with us. Phyllis and I were talking the other day. It's kind of scary when we're the two around along with Bobby and I guess Killer, Mayor Witt. We're the ones left that know the history, right? I mean, the ones that have been elected, the ones that have served and know the history of Mount Holly. And so when the city manager calls and say, did we have tanks removed from the city hall at 131 Main? I'm going, no, we never had that. Call Bobby. Call Phyllis. Call Phil Ponder, the little general. He'll know. But no, I'd say 6 city managers, at least 6 different councils, and it keeps going. And that's I'm most proud of in this city is that we keep moving forward. There's a lot more to do, and I look forward to what the next steps will be. Thank you for letting me serve. Jack, you can see him, but you can't see me.
Let's give him one more round of applause. Okay. Mr. Caldwell, the Honorable Judge, it's your show.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Good evening to Mount Holly. If I may take a point of personal privilege, it's a sweet soft spot in my heart for Mount Holly. I remember coming over with my daddy in the early '60s as he came to the office of his friend Max Childers to support his race for solicitor. In the early '70s, the first law firm I worked with, Joe Roberts, we had office here in Mount Holly. I worked here, down with the Department of Defender's office. And I've had the opportunity over the years to come here many times, with many friends, but what warms my heart is this opportunity to come administer the oath of office to the elected officials of this great city. Great city has had great leadership. People like Mayor J.C. Witt, the father of Mayor Robert Witt, Mayor Ray Broom, Mayor Bobby Black, who's here tonight. Good to see you, my friend. Mayor Brian Huff. And sir, thank you for your service. Quarter of a century as mayor, councilor. God bless you and your family. Mayor Robert Witt. Mayor Frank McLean, the late Frank McLean, good man. And, of course, Mayor David Moore. And so, and all these council people, I see Jim Hope out here, and all these great people, just warms my heart. And my dear friend, City Attorney Kent Michael, father of some unavoidable thing, whatever they make it, but this is part of my year that I look forward to. And I just want to say to you all, I'm honored to be here to once again administer the oath to the folks in my favorite city, Mount Holly. So thank you for that point of personal privilege. And we're going to induct three people tonight. Two are being reelected. First of all, Councilman Ivory Craig, if you would come forward, and if you all would like to have your family join you up here, and that way they'll be in photographs. And if you want to have a special family member hold the Bible for you, it's not necessary, but you can certainly do that if you like. And beautiful family here. So why don't you all come over here, and there's a copy of it, the oath there for you. And so, oh, that's precious. That's just beautiful. So, sir, if you would put your left hand on the Bible, and you better make the trade-off so you can raise it. And, sir, if you would repeat after me, first of all, are you prepared to take the oath of office again as councilman for City of Mount Holly? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. If you would kindly repeat after me, Ivory Craig.
I, Ivory Craig,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina,
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution and laws of said state,
the Constitution and laws of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as City Councilman
as City Councilman
of Mount Holly.
of Mount Holly.
Congratulations. Sir, I welcome you. Any remarks you wish to make?
Well, I am grateful and thankful to be here and serve the city of Mount Holly once again. The people have spoken, and I'm glad I can have my family here, my two parents right here, and truly, God bless Mount Holly. Thank you, guys.
Wonderful, thank you. At this time, Lauren Shoemaker is being reelected. And ma'am, if you would like to invite your family to join you in this important honor ceremony. I love it when a special person holds the Bible. So if you would, are you prepared, ma'am, to, again, take the office of, councilperson of, Mount Holly?
Yes, sir.
Very well, if you would place your left hand upon the Bible, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I, Lauren Shoemaker,
I, Lauren Shoemaker,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States,
and laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true
to the
allegiance
state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities
and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution and laws of said state,
the Constitution and laws of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and
and
ability,
that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as City Councilwoman
as City Councilwoman
of Mount Holly.
of Mount Holly.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, ma'am. going to be an exciting thing, and I know you're going to do great things for this city, sir. Are you prepared to take the oath, sir? Yes, sir. In that event, if you would kindly repeat after me, I, William T. Brooks. I, William T. Brooks. Do solemnly and sincerely swear. Do solemnly and sincerely swear. That I will support the Constitution and laws. That I will support the Constitution and laws. Of the United States. Of the United States. That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance. And I will be faithful and bear true allegiance. To the state of North Carolina. To the state of North Carolina. And to the constitutional powers and authorities. To the constitutional powers and authorities. Which are or may be established. Which are or may be established. For the government thereof. And that I will endeavor to support. Maintain and defend the Constitution. And the laws of said state. Not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States. To the best of my knowledge and ability. And that I will faithfully discharge. The duties of my office. And city council. Mount Holly. Congratulations. Any remarks you wish to make?
No, well, I just want to thank everybody that's here. I want to thank everybody that voted for me. I want to thank everybody, just all the citizens of Mount Holly. And it's time to do work.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to say one more thing about the staff of this great city. The city attorney, I've worked with her in a number of different capacities. Your city manager, really good. Very good.
You miss him.
I've worked with him, and where's Tara? She's back here, and I could go on and on. But you have an exemplary, exceptional, extraordinary staff, and just keep on keeping on.
Thank you, Judge. We appreciate you being here as usual. We really appreciate it, and all those comments. I'm going to invite the council to meet me down on the floor once more, please. So at this time, we're going to recognize some of our employees for their dedicated service to the city of Mount Holly. This is, I think a lot of these folks realize that they're here and they're here to stay. They're very, we try to take care of them as a city council. As a department head, we try to give them all the tools they need to work with, but we really lift our employees up. We try to do the best to make them, their job as easy as possible. So we want to recognize this person, a certificate of recognition presented to Keith Lynch for 5 years of dedicated service to the city of Mount Holly. And Keith works in Public Works. Is Keith here? All right. Come on up, Keith. Thank you so much for your service. If you want to go through and thank you. Okay, next we have a certificate of recognition for Brennan Hedspeth for 5 years of dedicated service to the city of Mount Holly. Brennan, if you'll come up. Next certificate of recognition is presented to Daniel Love for 5 years of dedicated service to the city of Mount Holly. He works with fire. Turn around and get a picture of Okay, next up is a certificate of recognition presented to Timothy Beavis for 5 years of dedicated service to the city of Mount Holly, and he's a police officer with the police department. Next up, another certificate of recognition presented to Alicia Rush for 5 years of dedicated service to the city of Mount Holly, and she is with the police department. Okay, next up, we have a young lady that has been with the city for 5 years, but she's been involved with finances for 25 years, 28 years, a long time. And I told our city manager we'll probably have to hire at least 2 people to take her place because she is that dedicated, she's that good. She just, state and national recognition, so she is just wow. And she's going to be retiring at the end of this year. So there'll be a huge void in that department. Like I said, we'll probably have to hire a couple people to fill that spot. But I'm going to call up Michelle Wood for her 5 years of dedicated service to the city of Mount Holly. We still have her for a little while. 22 days, is that right? Yeah. So next up, recognition presented to Douglas Baker for 15 years of dedicated service to the city of Mount Holly. Douglas? Okay, next up, we're going to recognize Travis Collier. In recognition of 25 years of faithful and dedicated service, City of Mount Holly, December of 2025, Travis is a firefighter. All right, next up, we would like to recognize Mr. Mark Jusko. He's with the Recreation Department in recognition of 25 years of faithful service and dedicated service. The City of Mount Holly, December of 2025. And he actually gets a little lunch money with that, so come on up, Mark. Congratulations. Okay, let's give all of our employees one more round of At this time, we're going to take a 5-minute break so everybody can move and go and do whatever they want to do. So thank you all for being here.
Relax, just chill.
Good, yourself? See you get back on? Okay, me too, yeah. How you doing? Just mark your name. Did you sign up? Okay. It should still be back there unless the chief has it, but just mark through it. Okay, all right.
How's everything? Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. All right. Can't complain.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So fast.
That makes it a lot easier.
Baby, I was like, "Hey, fine."
Yeah, good to see you. Yeah.
Good. They handled it like
Okay.
How you doing? Good. Your family good? Good to see you, man.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I asked him that. Somebody may bring this
It's not asked. So he's not even in the village. So he would have no real leg to stand on attraction to ask for any city or any concession.
That may come up.
He has not asked for any. He has only asked for extension of his closing date. And my understanding is he needs to work through some of these environmental concerns in order to secure his financing so that he has the funds to purchase it. But he's whispered that
Oh, really?
have the city concession.
It's all good. We got some good photos tonight anyways. This my copy?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Do you know who these are from?
No. It said on the back, clearly alive art by Amber Nicole, but I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Hey, neighbor. Good, how are you? Good to see you. I love that song so much. Hey. I'm just so pleased to be working with this council. You know, to have people who really care. They're reading, they're asking questions, they're showing up. You know, they're listening to people. They're putting forth tremendous effort, and it's completely, fabulous. And that's not every council. You know? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll let you know. We're probably doing soon. Once I get
Yeah, knock on wood about that.
trying to get some
Because we got a lot
all
of
up in that.
so
Muddle through somehow.
work together to make it happen. Yeah.
I want to, yeah. Yeah. All right, Ron.
Absolutely. Question.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
That'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll continue to reap the benefits. Yeah.
Jared. He's here.
Christmas to you.
How are you, my friends? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Jason. Merry Christmas.
How are you, man? Good to see you. You as well.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'll be close by. All right. Take care of yourself. All right, thank you.
Good to see you. How are you? Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Researching the covenants and Jimmy Hope. I wish I'd known that years ago.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Warm up here.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. I guess I need to get on the horn here, don't I?
Whenever you are ready.
Okay, council, if you could come back up, please. We're going to get started.
I know where that's what I read.
Okay.
All right, let's roll on to the next project. Now,
Okay, folks, we're going to get started back.
got hammered.
All right. Next on our presentations, we have the ISO 1 classification to the Mount Holly Fire Department, Chief Ryan Baker, and we have Brian Taylor from the State Fire Marshal's Office here. Thank you for being here.
Citizens of Mount Holly, Mayor, Council, this is a very big moment for the city. I'm proud to stand up here as the face piece, but that is all that I am. I get to wear the uniform, but the firefighters standing at the back and the ones that are protecting you 24 hours a day, those are the ones that really deserve a lot of the credit. They're the ones that put the boots on the ground to perform the job that they do so valiantly. At this time, I'm going to call up Fire Marshal Brian Taylor.
Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity to come before you today. Generally, this is a surprise, but this makes my job a little easier that you already know that you're getting a Class 1, which is the best rating that you can receive. But as a State Fire Marshal, I oversee 9 divisions at State Fire Marshal's Office, and one of those being Insurance and Rating Division, which we are the only state in the country that actually does the ISO inspection, which that's a direct benefit to the citizens of North Carolina and, of course, the communities of North Carolina, not having to wait 20 years to get a rating inspection. I accompanied the Insurance Commissioner, Mike Causey, a little over 5 years ago to present a Class 2 rating to the local fire department, and understand that these ratings are not just a rating of the department, it's a rating of the community. And the community itself, it's a 50 points score for the fire department, 40% for your utility, water department, and of course 10% for your communications. And then you're deciding if your fire department does fire prevention and or the county plays a part in that as well. So I am very pleased to say that your department has rated a Class 1, which is the best rating now. In school, we always said A is an A, and I would be thankful to have an A when I was in school, but outside of that, it is on a point scale, and the point scale is a 92.5. With that said, it took a tremendous feat to get to this, and it was not done overnight. It took many of years of the dedication of the men and women of the fire department, and of course the partners that I spoke about, but more importantly, you as a board supporting this department. And being a 92.5, it's going to be even harder to maintain that over the years. And I think it's important that you know that, and you'll get a complete breakdown. But today is a celebration of the fire department and the men and women and the work they do each and every day, be able to grade their paper on the work that they do to provide service to your community. So this time I'd like to present the chief his certificate. Congratulations. Is it possible to get the firefighters up?
Absolutely. Have them all come up.
Thank you, guys.
Gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor, for being here. Congratulations to the fire department. Great honor. As we continue, we're going to do our annual 2024-2025 audit presentation. Ms. Claire Earnhardt from Martin Starnes, along with Ms. Woods.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Good evening. I'm Claire Earnhardt, and I was the manager on this year's audit engagement. So I'm here to present to you the 2025 audited financial statements. So this data is as of June 30th, 2025. I do want to note before we begin that this is only preliminary. We have not submitted to the LGC yet due to the federal OMB compliance supplement not being released to us until November 25th. So our staff are still working on comparing the new federal compliance supplement for any additional procedures. We expect to issue an unmodified opinion on the audit report. A modified opinion is the best opinion that we can give in an audit, and it means that the financial statements are not materially misstated as presented to the reader. We want to thank your staff for working with us to finalize and wrap up the audit. Michelle has done a great job working with us over the years. We've really enjoyed working with her. So congratulations again on your retirement. It's been a pleasure working with your staff, as always. They were very cooperative and have worked hard to get us what we need. This year, we also want to note that we implemented a new GASB. This was GASB 101, and so this factored in accruing benefits relating to vacation hours and sick leave liability. So we appreciate Michelle and her staff working hard on implementing, because whenever we implement a new GASB, it is a lot of work. For your fund balance in the general fund, total fund balance decreased about $4.4 million to $18.8 million in 2025. This is a decrease of about 19%. Therefore, total revenues were less than total expenditures plus transfers out. This was mainly due to a decrease The city spent $4.6 million more in capital outlay compared to prior year, and so this is the largest reason for that decrease in fund balance. So fund balance serves as a measure of the city's financial resources available. So this is calculated in the financial statements as your assets and deferred outflows less your liabilities and deferred inflows, and that's what gives you the fund balance or net position. So there's 5 classifications that you'll see in your financial statements of fund balance on your Exhibit C. Non-spendable, which is things that are not in cash form. Restricted, which are things that have external restrictions like laws or grantors. Committed, which is internal constraints at the highest or the council level. These are things that do not expire and they require council action to undo. And then assigned, which is internal constraints, but it's a lower level than committed. There's also unassigned, which is no external or internal constraints. For your fund balance in the general fund, total fund balance was $18.8 million. Less non-spendable of $306,000, less restricted of $4.1 million, less committed of $1.6 million, less assigned of $3 million gives you that unassigned fund balance number of $9.6 million. In 2024, the unassigned number was $11.5 million, so this is a decrease of $1.9 million. This is a total decrease of 17%, but as mentioned previously, this was mainly due to a decrease in your overall general fund balance due to that increase in capital outlay expenditures. So for your available fund balance as defined by the LGC is calculated as follows. That's going to be your total fund balance, less any non-spendable, less Powell bill, less your stabilization by state statute, and that gives you your available fund balance number. So for the actual calculation, to put some numbers to this, available fund balance as a percent of expenditures and transfers to other funds in the general fund for 2025 was 46.5%. So 8.3% is approximately a month's worth of expenditures per the LGC. So for 2025, the city has almost 6 months worth of fund balance. This was 67.3% in 2024. So this was a decrease from the prior year, but again, this decrease was due to an increase in expenditures, mainly the capital outlay, as noted previously. Here's a 2-year comparison of the general fund. So available fund balance less Powell bill in 2024 was $19.1 million, and in 2025 was $14.5 million. Total expenses and transfers out in 2024 was $28.5 million, and in 2025 was $31.2 million. Available fund balance over total expenses and transfers out in 2024 was 67.2%, and in 2025 was 46.5%. Here is a general fund summary of your revenues and expenditures. Revenues in 2024 was $24.6 million, and in 2025 was $25.9 million. Expenditures in 2024 was $23.3 million, and in 2025 was $31.2 million. So your revenues increased about 5.4% or $1.3 million, and the largest increases were in intergovernmental revenue and air ad valorem taxes. Expenditures increased about 33.9%, or about $7.9 million, and the largest increase was in capital outlay. For your top 3 revenues in the general fund, your top 3 revenues make up 87% of your total general fund revenues. So ad valorem is the largest at 51%, unrestricted intergovernmental at 27%, investment earnings at 9%, and other revenues at 13%. Other revenues includes things like other taxes and licenses, permits and fees, sales and services, restricted intergovernmental, and miscellaneous revenues. For your ad valorem taxes, in 2024, this was $12.6 million, and in 2025, this was $13.3 million. This was an increase of about $623,000, or less than 5%, so we would consider this comparable to the prior year. For your unrestricted intergovernmental, in 2024, this was $6.5 million, and in 2025, this was $7 million. So this increase was about $565,000, or 9%. So I do want to note that this type of revenue includes state shared revenues, such as local option sales taxes, ABC distribution tax, utility franchise tax, beer and wine tax. And the increase was mainly in your local option sales tax due to accruing a 3rd month in 2025. And this was an occurrence that did not happen in the previous year and will not likely happen in the future years. For your investment earnings, in 2024, this was $2.4 million, and in 2025, this was $2.2 million. This was a decrease of about $255,000 or 10%, and this decrease was due to a money market account that closed in October 2024, and this money market was where the ARPA funds were previously housed. For your top 3 expenditures in the general fund, public safety is the largest at 34%, capital outlay at 27%, general government at 15%, and then other is made up of about 24%. Other expenditures include things like planning and zoning, garage, culture and recreation, transportation and environmental protection, and debt service. Public safety in 2024 was $9.2 million, and in 2025 was $10.6 million. So this was an increase of about $1.4 million or 14% compared to the prior year, and the largest increase was related to salaries and benefits. For the general government in 2024, this was $3.7 million, and 2025 was $4.6 million. This was an increase of about $923,000 or 24% over the prior year. This increase is mainly due to increase in salaries and benefits. Capital outlay in 2024 was $3.6 million, and 2025 was $8.2 million. This is an increase of about $4.7 million or 127% compared to the prior year. This increase is due to current year additions to construction in progress that was placed into service for various projects. Now to move on to your water and sewer fund. So the first section where you see budgetary, this is related to the modified accrual statements, and then the below full accrual is related to your full accrual statements, the exhibits up at the front of your financial statements. So for your operating revenue, this was comparable to prior year and decreased about $79,000. There was a large increase in your non-operating revenues of about $179,000, and that was due to an increase in your restricted intergovernmental, which would just be a new grant. There was an increase in capital outlay for various building improvements in 2025 that did not occur in the previous year. There was a decrease in debt service expenses, and that was due to a decrease in interest expense. Other expenditures also increased. This includes things like your salaries and benefits, supplies, repairs and maintenance, and other operating expenditures, and this was mainly due to an increase in salaries. And then on the full accrual statements this year, operating income decreased, and this is mainly due to an increase in other expenditures as mentioned above. And the unrestricted net position decreased. So this is be similar to your unassigned fund balance in the general fund. It's what's available for appropriation. This is a 3-year comparison of your water and sewer quick ratio. So I do want to note before I begin that the next few slides come from information on the LGC's data input report. So the quick ratio measures how many times current assets are able to cover your current liabilities or the ability to meet your short-term liabilities. So the city can cover its current liabilities with current assets in the water and sewer fund about 0.5 times. So the LGC is normally concerned if it falls below 1. I do want to note that in this particular case, this is mainly due to your large advance from grantor money. So advance from grantor is classified as a liability. So as you spend this money, it'll move out of a liability and the ratio will increase back up again above 1. For the water and sewer fund rate calculations, so operating net income excluding depreciation plus debt service principal. So this calculation subtracts the operating expenses, which also includes depreciation and debt principal paid from operating revenues. So a negative balance here would indicate that rates are not covering operating expenses, but in this case, there's a positive balance. Then the unrestricted cash over total expenses, less depreciation and debt service principal. This indicator calculates how many months worth of expenses a unit can pay based on the amount of unrestricted cash at year end. So a typical billing cycle is 1 month or about 8.3%. And 1 extra month would give a local government enough cash to handle all the various monthly expenses. So that would be about 16.6%. So the 16% would be the bare minimum to keep the fund from experiencing cash flow issues. However, the city has a percentage of 72%. So these are the financial performance indicators of concern, or what we call an FPIC. So you might be hearing the acronym FPIC more often. For a few years now, when the data input report gets prepared, the LGC has added additional tabs to calculate financial performance data so that they can quickly see how your unit is doing. So if things pop up on red in this, it means there's something of concern that they require auditors to speak to the units about during our presentation. We've already discussed the first one, which is the water and sewer quick ratio less than 1. We've also previously mentioned that this was mainly due to the advance from grantor of $14 million. So as this gets expended, the quick ratio will go back up. Then is the water and sewer capital assets condition ratio. So the capital assets condition ratio is currently at 0.47. The ratio calculates the remaining useful life of your assets. A remaining useful life asset less than 0.5 may signal to the units that they need to replace assets in the near future. Again, this is all just based on numerical data, so that will, whether you need to purchase a new asset or not, it's just based looking at the numbers. So we understand that the city is currently in a big water project with the city of Charlotte. We have audited the numbers this year and have included the cost as an intangible asset on the books of the city, and will continue to add to that intangible asset as the project continues. Sorry, there was one additional thing to mention on the previous slide. There's one audit finding that was a material weakness, 2025-001. The city expended more in expenditures over the amount appropriated in the annual budget ordinance. Therefore, the city failed to amend the budget to account for the increase in expenditures. The city will be required to answer the LGC regarding these red FPICs with an action plan. So we've previously discussed this with Michelle, and she has an idea of how to answer the LGC on these performance indicators, but she is absolutely welcome to contact us again when she starts drawing up a response if she were to need any assistance with wording. For a quick summary of the TDA, the revenues in 2024 were $201,000, and the expenditures were $189,000. In 2025, the revenues were $247,000, and expenditures were $288,000. As part of this, occupancy tax increased from the prior year about $13,000 or 7%, and expenditures increased about $99,000 or 52%. This increase was mainly due to an increase in advertising and marketing line item. For the total fund balance in 2024, this was $372,000 and decreased about $40,000 to $331,000 in 2025. So this was a decrease of about $40,000 and was mainly due to the increase in total expenditures noted on the previous slide. That's it for my presentation. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Earnhardt? Okay, thank you so much. Great presentation. Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is the public comment, the 3-minute public comment. So I'll ask you to come up and state your name and address for the record. First up is Ms. Peggy Thorns.
Hello, everyone. My name is Peggy Thorns. I live at 971 Old NC Highway 27, Mount Holly. What I would like to see is a Christian night, or it can be an afternoon, added to the summer concert series. So I would like to ask the City Council to consider this, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thorns. Next up, we have Mr. Bobby Black.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Robert Black, 142 Oakland Street. And a couple quick things. Congratulations to Ms. Shoemaker, Mr. Craig, Mr. Brooks. I I've known you different types, but William, as a young man, used to hang out at our house a lot with my son. And Melanie, I'm really proud of you, so thank you. And thank you to you as well. So a couple quick things about Mayor Huff. I know he's not here, so I can talk about him. But when I decided to run in 1997 for city council, I didn't know who he was. And people came up to me and said, "You don't know who Beef is?" And I'm like, "Who is Beef?" So that's how I got to know Brian. We served together for 6 years. I sat between him and Mr. Hope back there in the back and across from Miss Harris. So those were great times as council, and I served as mayor for 2 years. I got to serve with some great people. So Brian's done a wonderful job, and as you said, Mayor, he's done many, many things, and great proclamation for that. I really mainly came to say thank you to the city for the wonderful carriage rides. You're providing our city, as a resident of Oakland Street, along with Melanie and Jared's here. I think they were the only ones. I think this is the third year maybe. It's been a joy to have them come down our street. Every year it seems to get more exciting, and I think they've been booked up for quite a while. Chloe does a good job with that. It's not been the coolest of Christmases, but it's been really fun. I do have a comment. I spoke to the mayor, and I think Johnny Painter mentioned it earlier, that traffic on our street during the carriage ride gets pretty dangerous. You'd think that 4-horse and buggies with people in them would slow traffic down from the opposite direction. It does not. I think Johnny mentioned something before the meeting, that there was something that was pretty scary that almost happened tonight. So I would ask for you to consider that. One of the things about the Oakland Street luminaries is the luminaries, and the years we've done them, it means so much. We've had lit candles, and now we have the battery-operated candles, and we keep them out for 3 nights, and it's meaningful to a lot of people as they ride by. This week, and I think this is the second year we've done this, we have blue candles. We lit blue candles tonight, and that means a lot to our city, to our police department, to the Herndon family, and especially to us. And we keep those on normally for 3 nights. This year, we're going to extend them through Thursday night, and we'll pick them up Friday morning. So we'd encourage all the citizens and you all to come and see the blue lights. It's a special thing, not only to see the carriage rides come down, but to back the blue. And a lot of us have our blue lights, street lights, our porch lights on. I would maybe encourage our city to do that again. It's hard to believe it's 5 years. And a tribute to Tyler and the police department, if you get a chance to go out as you leave, to the memorial. It's very moving, especially this week. So I thank you for what you're all doing, what you're all going to do, and it's a great time to live in Mount Holly. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Next, we have old business, a discussion of the Duke Energy Riverbend Access Area. Mr. Eric Smallwood.
All right, thank you all for allowing me to speak this evening. So I wanted to bring this back to everybody this evening because we received the lease and memorandum of lease from Duke last week. So just kind of wanted to recap what we've gone through up until this point. So let's get started. So this is the site plan that Duke has submitted, and staff has been working with Duke throughout this year to kind of get the park as near perfect as we would want it. And so I'm just going to kind of start at the top right where the new area is and work or the top left and work my way down to the bottom right. So there's a guard shack and a turnaround loop at the top. There's very obviously a couple of parking areas there. We have the vault restrooms. that are on the corner of the parking lot, as well as 2 picnic shelters that will hold 8 to 10 picnic tables. And then we have a storage facility and check-in right at the top of the swim beach, kind of where the concrete path snakes down there. And then the fenced-in swim beach area will actually have 4 ADA accessible picnic tables and a cluster of 5 picnic tables. There'll also be a fishing pier and a natural surface trail to allow for shoreline fishing. And so those are the improvements to the new area, the Riverbend access. And luckily now, South Point access is open and has been operating for almost a year. And these are a couple of aerials of that location. You can see the swim beach there. You can see the fishing piers, the picnic shelter, and then there's another shelter in the parking lot. So let's go a little bit deeper. Here are some examples of the vault toilets. So those are CXT restrooms. I've used those in the past at other places I've been, and I really do like the quality of them. They're precast concrete restrooms. They're really easy to clean, and they're super durable, and they come in fully constructed. And then just another area there with the park kiosk and the benches overlooking the water. Here is an example of the picnic shelter, and this would this would be identical to what Duke would be building at Riverbend, and then just some the concrete and masonry work for the steps down to the water and down to the swim beach. And then just another example of the Trex board fishing piers that they would construct, and just more kind of that attention to detail, the fencing and concrete work that kind of bordered the park as you saw from the aerial. And ironically enough, everybody here has probably been through this except me, so I'm going to remind you all of kind of how we got here. September 23, Duke presented the proposal to the city. About a year later, they gauged interest from us to lease the property. In September of 24, council approved a non-binding, not a non-bonding, a non-binding letter of intent for the possible lease of the area. And then at the December meeting last year, City Council approved to lease the Riverbend access area from Duke. January through August of 25 of this year, like I said, we've been working with Duke, going back and forth with designs and amenities and requests. And then in September, Duke submitted construction plans to the city for review. And hopefully by the end of the year, Duke is going to break ground out there. What's going on right now and moving forward, Duke has put silt fence at the site. Again, they hope clearing to begin by the end of December. They would like, they have requested that the lease be signed by the end of December. And then a year from now in 2026 is their anticipated completion date, but they're really, obviously that's weather dependent, it's construction, but their ultimate goal is to have it open, or ready to open by recreation season, Duke's term, recreation season 2027, so Memorial Day essentially. And this is just kind of an expanded view of what was presented, I guess, about this time last year. There was only 3 years on there at that time. We've expanded that out to 5, and we've also taken into account our classification and compensation study that we implemented this year, as well as adjusted a few items on the revenue side based on a reduction of parking of what was used on the estimate last year versus what Duke submitted on their plans. And as you can see at the bottom, kind of our disclaimers, this does include a 10% annual increase in revenue and expense, and it does not include other utility costs for service. There will be no water ran to the site. That's why we're using vault toilets. and there will be power there, and our police and fire will serve this area also. Kind of our staffing breakdown that we're looking at. So we're looking at we're looking at needing 3 full-time employees, 2 more park maintenance technicians. And what we would do, or what we will do is we'll more than likely regionalize, if you will, our park maintenance. So we'll kind of have like a northern, central, and southern district with Mountain Island, Pinewood Elementary, and Riverbend, Central being, River Street, Ransom Hunter, Veterans, and Woodlawn, and then kind of our southern district being Tuck, the Greenway, Catawba Heights Park, and Elementary School. So we would look at doing that. We would also bring on a full-time park supervisor or park ranger, full-time at the park in the busy season, Memorial Day through Labor Day, and then maintenance technician for the remainder of the year. And then we're looking at our part-time recreation aide. We would always want at least 2 people up there at all times in case of an emergency. So whether that's a full-time park supervisor and part-timer during the week, 2 part-timers on the weekend, that's kind of our best guesstimation on the hours. And that's what was included in the previous slide under the staffing line. Public safety, kind of building out on the staffing. So this year, police calls for service to that area were 93. 8 resulted in investigations, and 604 were special checks. So special checks are ride-throughs on busy days, shoreline walks to make sure nothing nefarious is happening, things like that. And then fire had 20 calls for service at the area, the existing boat ramp. But only 5 were specific to the site. The other 15 were actually on the water calls, and that boat ramp is where they put on the water, so that's just the address that's given to those reports. And I will also say, I've told Chief this, that the enforcement this year has been great. When we were scouting out locations for the Catawba River Sweep in early October, the riverkeeper actually had to kind of pivot and find some other locations because Mountain Island Park and the Riverbend area were so clean, because we saw such a reduction in partying out there and stuff due to the enforcement. So that was a little bit of chaos the day before the river sweep, but it was for a good reason. Just a little bit of background on Duke Energy's recreation sites and water access. So they have 187 recreation sites they manage in the region. That's Eastern Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina. 78 sites on the Catawba Wateree Basin, so that's everything from Lake James up in Morganton all the way down to Lake Wateree near Columbia, South Carolina. 13 of those sites are leased and managed. 11 of those are on Lake Wylie. 11 sites are on Lake Wylie, and 6 of those are leased and managed that are on Lake Wylie. And Mount Holly actually is 2 of those 6. So one is the Dutchman's Creek river access, kind of right there near Highway 27, and the other is Mountain Island Lake Park, the front half of Mountain Island Lake Park, right below the dam. Tail Race is their name. From what I could tell, there are no swim beaches that are managed by Duke Energy. All of those are leased and managed by either municipality or county government. Duke Energy's annual gross profits, you can kind of see the trend as they're trending up from 2020, and 2025, based on year over year in September, look, that trend, that upward trend looks like it's going to continue. And then just a little bit background or a little bit deeper dive into the investment. So right now, the market value as the property is with improvements, that's the boat ramp, the park and the 2 parking lots, is roughly $1.6 million. Duke had told me that their costs for improvements at the boat launch are going to be $1 million, and then all of the work happening at the Riverbend access, the site plan we looked at right at the beginning is going to be $4 million. And so that was very quick overview of everything that you all have been through, so happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Mr. Smallwood? Mr. Reeves?
One question, you mentioned, is there a reason why Duke would not manage their own swim areas?
When I met with Brandon Jones from Catawba Riverkeeper, he said it best. Duke is in the energy business, not the recreation business. This is part of their FERC relicensing requirements to provide recreation access to the water so that they can use it to create energy. So that's why they're doing this.
Ms. Harris?
So, if you recall, I voted against this in the beginning. I think it was a 4-2 vote with Councilmember Reeves and I voting against it. And I guess I want to ask the same question again, is if we don't do this, will Duke build this anyway?
There have been examples in the past of when municipalities or local governments have turned down the leasing and management of a Duke-built recreation area, that they have gone elsewhere and not built it. In talking with Brandon Jones, that's a cumbersome process, but they've gone through it before. As far as this site specifically, I have no clue.
Mr. Craig?
I've personally been out to the South Point place that Duke has this past summer, and it is beautiful. There's so many people out there. It just brings in just a great crowd in the area, and it's well maintained for sure. And I think something like this in Mount Holly would only be a benefit to our citizens and surrounding areas. So I'm still for it.
Mr. Smallwood, I would, my concern is this estimated revenue and expenses. That's my concern. They're supposedly going to build this regardless because they're required to by, the federal government. But every minute, every day, we're going to lose big money. Every minute, every day, we're going to lose big money on this. It's going to cost our city, and I think it's going to take away from our recreation department, our existing recreation department. That's my biggest, and I'm a Parks and Rec guy, and I think this is, what they do is going to be really nice. It's just what it's going to cost our citizens, our taxpayers. We've got liability every which way you turn. It's because it's going to be, there's people going to be out there swimming. And I know that's included in here is your liability insurance for the beaches and without lifeguards. But, when you lose, $388,000, or I'm sorry, $316,000 the first year, 208, 229, 252, 277 every year, that's not good for our taxpayers. And I feel it just takes away from our existing recreation program. When you have big weekends, you're going to have the off-duty police officers up there probably working. It seems like it's a liability for our city and our citizens. It's just a lot of money to put on the backs of the taxpayers. I think a 5-year, it's going to cost over what? Now, Mr. DuPont, you may have some numbers. A 5-year, what is it, over $1.2 million it's going to cost the city?
Yes, sir. The first 5 years is 1.28. Then the second 5 years is, using the projection of 10%, is 1.4 million. And then 1.54 million with a 15-year total cost estimated at $4.23 million.
That's my concern. That's on the taxpayer's back. I know we're going to get a little revenue, but, and I don't know how you guys estimated as far as the vehicles coming in, and what is it, like $8 a car, $10 a car? You've got 6 or 8 months that are probably going to be, pretty busy, but then you're going to have months or hardly anybody up there, and then we're going to have staff up there every day, all year long. There's a lot of unknowns with this. If something were to happen, people get up there and start damaging stuff. We're required to buy all this stuff, dog bag stations, a water tank, field scraper. We have to buy equipment, maintenance, you know, all the maintenance stuff, we have to buy a new maintenance truck. It just, is it worth it in the end? Especially when they're going to build it. You know, I know that, I guess Belmont looked at the one at South Point, but, you know, they looked at the same thing, and they said, we can't afford to do this. That's why the county took it over. But I think we've talked with the county, if I'm not mistaken, and they don't want to take it over. And, you know, Mr. Blanton, you can speak to that maybe if you'd like.
I spoke to Gaston County last year when we had these preliminary discussions with Duke, and they indicated at the time that they did not have an interest in maintaining this park, but the Duke Energy had not approached them because at the time the city of Mount Holly had approved that non-binding letter of commitment to move forward to leasing this facility.
So that's just my take on it. And like I said, I'm a big recreation guy, top to bottom. I'm all in. But when you put that much money on the backs of the our citizens to pay for that, that's big money. That's a 30-year commitment to this. That's a 30-year lease. And it's just, we've got a lot of projects going on. You know, we need a new gym. We need a lot of stuff in our recreation department. We've got a tremendous program going on at our old gym right now that we could use some of this money to help out with over 100 kids a day, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Smallwood, is that right?
It's getting up there, close to it.
Yeah, so, you know, this is something that, and I guess we've got to make this decision before the end of the year. Is that correct?
Duke Energy requested that the lease be signed by the end of the year, and apologies if I wasn't clear enough. The numbers don't change, but we would only staff it Memorial Day through Labor Day, swimming season, if you will, and then we would shut the gate to the swim beach the rest of the year and just operate it like a normal park. Apologies.
Okay. Ms. Shoemaker?
Yeah. So I appreciate what you said, and I do agree that I do not love the expenditure. I think that the issue that we have to face here is if they're going to build this park, regardless of whether we sign the lease or not, then we're going to be obligated, we're going to have fire and police responding out there, but we will have no authority. We're going to have people criticizing because it's in Mount Holly. So if it's being managed by Duke or being managed by the county or someone else, if it is not managed well, like I have the utmost faith that our Parks and Rec staff can do a phenomenal job of maintaining. It will be staffed well, it'll be cared for because that is what they do. My fear is that if it is maintained by someone else and not maintained well, then it will just be on the backs of Mount Holly, a criticism, like a blight on our eye that, you know, black eye for Mount Holly because we have a park that, you know, isn't being taken care of well, isn't being maintained, it's, you know, there's trash everywhere or whatever. I also think that while the numbers seem, you know, really significant, I would be interested, like I would ask the same question, like how much does it cost to run Tuck Park every year? How much does it cost to run any park? Like we all know that parks make no revenue. Like they do not bring in money. Parks do not bring in money. It is all of Parks and Rec is a quality of life thing. So it is the city creating parks, creating exposure to the water that is not otherwise available. The community wouldn't be able to afford a $5 million park like this. You know, an individual person wouldn't be able to afford to build this kind of park. So the city, you know, sponsors and takes care of the park for the community. I think that it would be, like Councilman Craig said, it would be a beautiful location. It would be great for our community. And I fundamentally, like, while it is definitely an expense over time, you know, I think that the risk of having no authority or governance over this location, assuming that it would be built regardless of whether we sign the lease or not, I think that it's going to be a problem for our police and for our fire to not have any authority or governance over the area while they're being called out, because we are the closest and we will get called out for everything. Just because it's not being leased by Mount Holly doesn't mean that they're like that. Those numbers about the responses are going to change at all. So, I'd like to see our police and fire have the capability to do what they need to do, and the authority to do so. And so,
Mr. Craig?
Also, to piggyback off of that, with the county also over the auditorium in Mount Holly, in front of the middle school, right, but those ugly buildings right beside of it, imagine if we were in charge of the decisions going into that. They either wouldn't be there, or they would look a lot better, or that wouldn't have never got to that point. That's in the center of our town, and it's an eyesore, but we can't do anything about it right now. And also with, just like Lauren stated as well, about parks not bringing in revenue, we're actually getting something out of this. It's not like Duke Energy is not putting up anything, and we're not actually going to get anything from this park, and we're just going to be spending $300,000 every year, and it's not going to anything. Also, those people coming from different municipalities that's going to come to our businesses to spend time, their money in our downtown, which we need tremendously, I think it's a great thing, because also with Tuck Park, it doesn't run itself. River Street doesn't run itself. Catawba Heights doesn't run itself. All these different parks do not run themselves, but they are in our town. And I think having more recreation is a beautiful thing, and I'm also a Parks and Rec guy myself, and I think this is going to be another icing on the cake for our recreation department and the city of Mount Holly to be able to benefit our citizens and surrounding area. So I think I got everything I needed to say out about that, so I'm still for it.
Mr. DuPont, what is our total budget for recreation in a year?
Yeah, our total expenses in the Parks and Recreation Department is $1,347,714.21. Total park expenditures is $733,602.61, Mr. Mayor.
So that says a lot right there. And I know that we're never going to make money on recreation, ever. That's something that we are required to have as recreation, and that's why Duke is building this park, because they're required to do it. But it's just a lot of money to put on the backs of the, of our citizens. You've got 187 sites in the region, and 78 of those sites are in I guess that's South Carolina, the Wateree Basin, 13 leased and managed, 11 sites on Lake Wiley, 6 are leased and managed. No beaches are managed by Duke Energy. So it's just, I don't want to put that on the backs of the citizens. That money, that cost. Mr. Reeves?
I want to speak on what David's speaking on. I have a problem with putting it on the taxpayers' back. A couple of things that bother me. Duke Energy is a $4 million, what is it, they're at $4.4 million right now, and they're asking our taxpayers to subsidize their park. I mean, some reason or other it doesn't fit in my head to ask the taxpayers to pay for this park. I agree, it's a beautiful site. It's a beautiful park. But at what point do we say we got a multi-billion-dollar company asking our taxpayers to keep their park up they're going to build? That's the part that bothers me, along with the taxpayer expense that's going to be put on the taxpayer. I agree, it's a beautiful asset to have. I don't mitigate that at all. But what was it, $300,000 in our budget to keep the parks up that we have is $700,000? That's getting pretty close to half for one park. And that disturbs me a little bit.
When we first were presented with their presentation, we said this could be your premier park, but we wanted to run water and sewer. They didn't want to do that. It was going to be another $800,000, $1 million to do that. You're going to have a 62-acre park, 51, okay, not counting, I guess, the boat landing, with just water tanks out there. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, like Mr. Reeves said, they've got all these billions sitting there, and they're asking for a rate increase, and they want to put that on our taxpayers' back. Is that right? Is that fair? Not in my eyes, it's not. I think, regardless, I think they're going to build that park there on that property. And, if we have to take care of it, I think we still have authority. If I'm not right, Mr. Chief Reagan, I could be wrong on that, but I think we would still have authority to go in there and do whatever we need to do. And you can speak to that if you like. I'm sorry? Okay. So It will be policed, and we will be in there, as you mentioned earlier. Our fire will be in there, our first responders will be in there. We will be very involved with this park, regardless if we take care of it or not. So I just can't see putting that much money on the taxpayers' backs when we have all kind of needs in our current department. You know, we were looking at trying to buy, you know, build a new gym. We've just got, our program is growing so fast, and, you know, that's going to be, of course, it'll be an asset. But I think there's more, we have more needs, and this is a want. You know, I appreciate Duke Energy, and we talked with Martha Wegner about this, and to try to say this could be your premier park. But they didn't really want to go overboard. They wanted to do the minimum, and their minimum is great. It truly is. But I just feel that it's just a lot of money on the taxpayers' backs. It just doesn't add up to me. Mr. Meadows?
So there's been a lot of talk about investment of taxpayers' money. There would be a $5 million investment in the capital side that the city wouldn't have to make. We would control 51 acres on the water that you could not repeat anywhere else in the area. When you do a break even on the 300,000, it's about 17 years on the capital investment alone, and that's not even buying the property to start with. We have worked with Duke for over a year and made a commitment to one of our major partners that provides us a lot of support and a lot of opportunities that I'd like to preserve and keep the commitment that we've made to them to come up to the 11th hour and then back out. Doesn't seem quite right to me. I think this would be a mistake for the city of Mount Holly to not keep its word that we gave them for an extended period of time. I guess this would be, the elections have consequences, but this would be really sad if we turn our back on one of our major partners.
Well, I think that's why there's a deadline of the end of this month. So we hadn't completely, fully said that we would do this yet. Any other comments from council? I'll entertain a motion to do one way or the other.
I'll make a motion to move forward.
I have a motion by Mr. Craig to move forward with the park. I have a second by Mr. Meadows. All in favor? I have Mr. Meadows, Ms. Shoemaker, and Mr. Craig in favor. All opposed? I have Mr. Brooks, Mr. Reeves, and Ms. Harris opposed. I will break the tie. I will deny it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have our city manager report, Mr. Blanton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, I have several things that I want to share with council and the public tonight. Before I get into showcasing some of the great things that we've accomplished together throughout 2025, there are a couple of announcements that I want to make. As was mentioned earlier, our finance director will be retiring at the end of this month, so certainly want to thank Michelle for the past 5 years here at the City of Mount Holly and the tremendous impact that she has made for our finance department and on behalf of management and our city council. We certainly wish you well. We'll miss you, but thank you for the tremendous impact that has been made over your tenure here with the City of Mount Holly. I did want to thank our auditors for coming out tonight so that you guys could hear firsthand the tremendous amount of work that our staff puts in and day out to ensure that our finances are strong and to ensure that we are compliant with the are put into place by the local government commission. Also, thank you to everyone in the community, our mayor, council, for attending our recent holiday events. They have been a huge success. So a special thank you to our Parks and Recreation Department, Chloe Clary, our special events coordinator. Our Christmas parade was a huge success this last Saturday. We had Deck the Hall here in the Grand Hall, where we were able to have a great turnout for Santa holiday events. So thank you all for participating in those events. We'll also have Santa back here at the Grand Hall on Wednesday, so certainly invite people to continue to come out and share this holiday season with us here in Mount Holly. For the holiday season, we will be closed on Christmas 24th, 25th, and 26th, so Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the day after, as well as on January 1st, we will be closed for New Year's. So we certainly wish everyone the happiest of holidays, merriest of Christmas, and a wonderful, wonderful New Year. On a sadder note, I did want to make note that Miss Shirley Bishop passed away over the weekend. Shirley Bishop was the wife of former council member, former police chief Jerry Bishop, and has been in declining health for the past few years, but certainly hope that you all will remember Jerry and his family in your prayers over these next few weeks and the coming months as we enter the holiday season. So I did want to note that, and note that we do have former Chief Bishop, former Councilman Bishop in our prayers and thinking about him, and encourage you all to do the same. As we approach the end of 2025, I do want to showcase some of the incredible work that our city staff has been able to do. First and foremost, thank you to this council for the support of staff and for the tremendous efforts of our team in putting some of these projects together. Last year, I put together a brief recap of 24 things that happened in 2024, and I would not have believed last year that we would be able to top that in 2025. But I am proud to say that we have accomplished some great things, and I'm just going to showcase a few of those to in the year on a high note, and to celebrate the successes that we have been able to accomplish as a team, as a community, and as a city. Since we've talked a lot about finances tonight, I want to talk about the lead and copper replacement grant funding that we've received this year. About a year ago, in January of 2025, the City Council blessed applications for the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality in order to solicit $8,374,300 in grant funding. Our staff did a great job working with Harbin Engineering, getting these applications submitted to the state, and we were elated to learn in the summer that we were successful in getting those grants. So that was over $8 million that came here into the city of Mount Holly in order to meet some of those federal mandates. So I am incredibly proud of that, and certainly commend our utilities team, our public works team, for that great undertaking. Also, this year, vibrancy continued to thrive through art and placemaking. Our planning department, Paul Lowe, Greg Beal, were able to put together a wonderful number of projects that were brought to this council to bless and that was approved. The picture that we're looking at here was, of course, at Ida Rankin with the mural that we cut the ribbon on earlier this year. We also had a fantastic piece that we unveiled at Truist as well. And if you guys have been to Tuck Park, we continue to place different items in there. So certainly thank you to this council for blessing these projects, and a special thanks to our friends at the Public Arts Advisory Council that meet regularly to provide their services, talents, and inputs on this project. So that was a wonderful way to continue that core value of increasing vibrancy through art and placemaking. Also, throughout the early months of this year into the summer, our Human Resources Department management worked with Baker Tilly in order to put together a compensation study. That was a very thorough report where we looked at neighboring entities, we looked at pay philosophy plans, and discussed a lot about what we could do to retain, attract, and keep good quality talent here at the City of Mount Holly. And I'm very proud that the budget that we passed in June, July did just that. Of many things that it put together, but one of those key marks was implementing a starting minimum wage of $18.33 per hour. So that was something that our staff worked tirelessly on and that we were able to accomplish in 2025. We also closed on additional property for the Veterans Park expansion, and negotiations began with Streetlights Residential. This happened in March, and throughout this year we have continued to seek a quality product in order to present to the public and in order to be able to fulfill this long-term project, long-term goal, and find options to present to the council in order to best utilize a very fundamental and generational opportunity in our downtown area. We also saw construction start at the South Gateway Connector Road, also known as, soon to be officially known as, Kemp A. Michael Way. This was a Phase 1 approach that will build a connector road between Caldwell Drive, YMCA Drive, and this photo was taken just last week on site. So a huge thank you to our project management team, to our engineers, and to our public works employees who have oversaw this project as we continue to see that project come online. And this project is not only going to provide a connector road between those two heavily traveled thoroughfares, it is going to complement $145 million in private development already invested and soon to be invested in the South Gateway region. Also, our Parks and Recreation Department have been incredibly busy this year, but one of the items that we are most proud of is the the groundbreaking that we had in May at River Street Park as we saw the Dutchman's Creek Bridge come to life, as we saw this showpiece of a project continue to build momentum and to continue to come online with our Parks and Recreation team leading the way on this capital project. Huge thanks to the council who showed up for our groundbreaking, who have supported this project, and our friends at our Parks and Recreation Advisory Council for giving input as we continue to see great improvements and great things happening at the River Street Park. Also, we were able to undertake a huge downtown paving project this year. A tremendous amount of thanks to our streets crew, our public works team, our contractors to be able to work towards this project coming into fruition. And a special thank you to Trouse Brewing with working with the city to enhance additional parking options in downtown. This was a fantastic opportunity to repaint that crosswalk, proudly displaying the city seal. And this project revitalized and enhanced our small town character. So this was another great thing that happened this summer. Also, as we have mentioned tonight, throughout this last year, our police department continues to shine and go above and beyond the call of duty. This year, they were awarded the OSHA Public Sector Sharp 10-Year Recertification Award. We welcomed Commissioner Farley earlier this spring to present the city with this Sharp 10-Year Recertification Award, and this incredible honor recognized the dedicated and incredible police personnel that we have under Chief Reagan and the wonderful men and women of the Mount Holly Police Department that go above and beyond each day. Our recreation team were able to work out a joint use agreement with Gaston County Schools. We learned in the spring that Gaston County would not be utilizing their rights of first refusal for some of our public spaces, and Eric Smallwood, our Parks and Recreation team, worked diligently in order to be able to get the city those first rights in order to expand our recreation program and to have additional options for programming in our Parks and Recreation Department. So that was a great opportunity to be able to provide more space for the kids in the Parks and Recreation Department. We also moved forward with the Oakland Wetland Project. This is a project that has been going on since 2023. At that time, the city began evaluating options to address stormwater concerns in downtown Mount Holly. McAdams Engineering began the process of identifying potential options and sites throughout 23 and 24, and in April of this year, final designs moved forward to remove existing stormwater pipage and install an engineered wetland to address stormwater-related issues in the downtown area. Also, as you saw firsthand tonight, our fire department has done an incredible job this year, not only in getting our ISO rating lowered, but also in getting our SAFER grant. So thank you to Chief Baker, Deputy Chief Spry, Craig Spry, for being able to lead these efforts and to continue to keep our Mount Holly homes, businesses, and residents safe. So a huge shout out to both our police and our fire department for the great efforts that they have provided in essential services this year. Also, in June, I presented to the City Council a balanced budget, and in July that budget was adopted and put into place. It was one of the most conservative budgets that we put into place in quite a few number of years, and I was very proud of not only Council's willingness to adopt this budget, but the spirit of acceptance that our department heads had when we talked about having a leaner year in order to be able to finish some of the large-scale capital projects that we had. On that same note, for the second year in a row, our Finance Department was presented with the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, an award-winning finance department that received this national recognition in order to showcase the fiscal responsibility of our city and the wise utilization of taxpayers' dollars. And that was, of course, further underscored tonight by our auditors presenting an unmodified opinion and talking about the great successes that we have had from a financial standpoint over this last year. The Holland opened, and with the Holland restaurant opening, we saw a long-awaited goal and vision for our North Main Street come online. We were fortunate enough to have our second legislative day at the Holland restaurant, where we were able to showcase not only the Holland, but all of the wonderful things that we are working on here in Mount Holly. We had delegation from Raleigh, from Washington, D.C., and across the county, and we were able to share all of the things that make Mount Holly so special and to be able to showcase what is now and soon to be a premier location, a premier venue here in Mount Holly, that being at the Holland. Also, our digital message board sign went online this year. This further demonstrated a great partnership that we have with the Tourism Development Authority, and building on that progress, we expanded that budget, increased budgeting for the TDA for them to accomplish these great projects that really go a long way to showcase Mount Holly and to bring people here to visit with us, spend money with us, and spend the night in our hotels here. So that was a wonderful, another long-awaited goal, aspiration of the city to see that digital message board come online. We decommissioned our wastewater treatment plant this year, and with that decommissioning, Centralina Regional Council recognized this collaborative partnership between the City of Charlotte and the City of Mount Holly. We were awarded the Nance Award of Regional Excellence in Gastonia earlier this year, and we were able to commemorate that day with our friends across the river earlier this spring. So a huge thank you to our friends across the river for assisting with this project, and to our team at the wastewater treatment plant, utilities plant, that did the best they could under difficult circumstances due to a delayed project, making the most of what they had. So that was a project that had been in the works for decades that finally came online this year. Also, Ransom Hunter Park finally opened its doors, I suppose there aren't doors, but we cut the ribbon in order to have a new park and recreational facility. This was a wonderful homage to Mr. Hunter. Our city's Recreation Commission, the North Carolina Parks and Recreation Trust Fund awarded us funding for this, state funding for this project. The Ransom Hunter family gave input, advice, suggestions, and ideas along the way, and the City Council commemorated this day with a special ribbon cutting. It was a wonderful day on Glendale earlier this fall when we were able to cut that ribbon. We also cut another ribbon here at the Municipal Complex for the new Mount Holly Museum, and we approved the sale of 131 South Main. The grand opening afforded the opportunity to showcase the incredibly rich heritage of the city, and the Mount Holly Historical Society and the City Council came together in November to cut that ribbon here on East Central. So we also moved forward with additional grant funding, going back to the money. I am very proud of our city planning department, our city engineering department, when we learned in October that we would receive over $1 million in funding from the DOT for sidewalk improvements on Tuckasegee Road and Beatty Road. So a huge thank you to our engineering department, planning department, and our friends at the DOT for helping us accomplish the goal of continuing to provide additional connectivity throughout the city of Mount Holly. And if you attended any of our downtown concert series this summer, you saw a sight to be seen. These events thrived. We welcomed thousands into downtown Mount Holly and were able to celebrate the summer with our downtown concert series, as well as providing additional programming options this year in the off months when we do not have the concert series. So a huge thank you to the council for supporting this, and a huge thank you to our Parks and Recreation special events staff for coming out on these Friday nights and making these such a success. And as you see, this was additional programming that we had with the Pumpkin Piddle Paddle at River Street Park in October. So we are very proud of these programming options and are going to continue to seek additional unique opportunities in 2026 to provide for our community. And tonight, we witnessed something that has been in the works for many, many years, as I touched on earlier. We were able to reach a long-term agreement with the town of Stanley to continue to provide them water. This is something that the city of Mount Holly, the town of Stanley, have worked on many, many years, and I'm very proud that tonight we saw that project completed. Also, improvements continue to be made at Arts on the Greenway. You can see one of our resident artists here who constructed the butterfly mural between here and Arts on the Greenway earlier this summer, finished that project. And if you came in through the front and noticed, you see that we do have a facelift happening over there. We recognized structural issues earlier this year, and in order to make a more cohesive and uniform facade, we are working with Fairfield Construction to see that project come online. So we are very excited to continue to enhance first impressions of Mount Holly through projects such as this. Mount Holly's own David Childers was recognized this year. We were able to present him a proclamation at our Mount Holly Nights. Several council members, the mayor, were able to attend the induction into the Hall of Fame, and we were also able to see Mr. Childers perform at the 150th anniversary of the Mount Holly Cotton Mill at Muddy River in May. So that was a fantastic opportunity to celebrate our heritage and to see 150 years of the Mount Holly Cotton Mill. We saw so many projects advance this year, and as I come to a close, I just want to touch on a few of them, starting with a new water tower in the north that's soon to be online. A new fire truck was approved, and a new sanitation truck arrived for our streets and solid waste workers in order to ensure that our employees have the tools and resources to keep them safe and to continue to provide stellar services to our residences. And lastly, we had key departmental positions that were filled this year. Building on the success of recruiting exemplary employees throughout 2024, this was the first full year for our new Parks and Recreation Director and our new IT Director that were added to our executive staff. Both of these key hires added experience, value, fresh perspectives, and new ideas to an already qualified staff as we sought to advance visionary leadership across the city. These two positions, as well as additional hirings throughout many of the departments, accomplished just that, and I could not be any prouder of the staff that we have here at the City of Mount Holly as they continue to further the goals and objectives that are set by our council in order to make this a wonderful place to live, work, and play. As I've said many times, I take my responsibility as your city manager very seriously, and my task of accomplishing the goals, objectives that you all set, and I could not be any prouder of the incomparable work ethic of an exceptional staff. None of our successes could have been made possible without my team that worked so hard each day in order to make the City of Mount Holly look good. So I hope that you all are as proud of these accomplishments as I am, and we are looking forward to a fantastic 2026. And as I said, thank you all for the guidance, input, and support of both me, the Council Manager, form of government, and staff over the last year. That is all that I have tonight, Mr. Mayor, but I am glad to answer any questions of the council.
Any questions for Mr. Blanton? Thank you so much for your presentation and all the hard work that you and staff have done. It's just been amazing that the steps that we continue to move forward with. So thank you for that. Next on our agenda is closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318, 11A, 3, and 5. I need a motion to go into closed session. Ms. Harris, second by Ms. Shoemaker. All in favor? We are now in closed session.